I talk about this idea of grace, and it comes, the Zulu word for grace is UMUSA, which means grace. But because these languages are so literary and operate on both the literal and the metaphorical level, UMUSA means grace, but it is also another word for humanity, how we have this shared humanity, and what was powerful about growing up under apartheid, but also under the fall of apartheid, is we have the model set by Bishop Tutu. He talked about this idea of umusa and how we have to recognize our humanity still in one another. And it's so important. And the only way you do that is through forgiveness. Forgiveness forces me to recognize the humanity in the person who injured me. Or if I am giving forgiveness, if I'm being given the gift of forgiveness, the person is recognizing my humanity. The thing that wronged them is coming from another human. Like, we share humanity. And so I just love the fact that this one word that means grace also means humanity, and that grace is what keeps us, not from destroying each other as humans who have so much pain we inflict on each other. So for me, like, umusa, grace, is the sweet, sweet word that tastes like honey.
Mm. And it cannot be done individually. There's a sense of community that's necessary both in humanity and in grace. So in some ways, Umusa is maybe saying that grace is shared humanity and humanity is shared grace.
I
It's
like
both,
that.
right? That's
I
what
like
I'm
that a
hearing you
lot.
say there. And I love how
Yeah.
sometimes, yes, we do need several languages in order to express something the best. But again, that's culture. And I love that. That's the reversal of Babel, right? Where God is weaving
Yes.
languages. Um, okay, so final question. How has Umusa been both the hallmark of your relationship with your dad personally, and how is it also the hallmark of what South Africa is doing? And how can it be the way forward for America?
Oh, complicated question.
Well,
I
tying
think
all
maybe
three together, right? Because that's what you're doing throughout the book. You're tying the personal strand of your own story with your dad
Mhm.
with a national strand of what happened in the past in South Africa and is now bearing
Right.
such beautiful fruit. And what is currently happening in America 30 years later.
Right. And grace is the gift that Jesus gave us 2000 years ago, and it's still the only thing, the only thing that is the hope to move forward, because grace is getting something you don't deserve. So when I think about my relationship with my dad, like, or my relationship with my own kids, right? Like, I don't deserve their forgiveness for screaming at Micah the way I did. Grace is what gives it to me. It's the thing you don't deserve. And in giving it to me, it keeps our humanity connected. And so I think part of navigating grace at the national level is, are we willing? So the national level is actually a reflection of what's happening individually, right? So individually we have to be willing to extend grace, and so sometimes that means extending forgiveness, but sometimes it means, as the white people in the culture, being willing to sit in the tension of listening to things that make us really uncomfortable, where we want to be defensive and we want to justify ourselves, instead choosing to extend a grace and say, wait a minute, no, I have to be willing to hear somebody else's story. And in so doing, people of color are extending grace to us because they're saying, here, I'm trying to tell you something. I'm trying to share part of my humanity with you. And we get to receive that humanity and say, and sit in their pain and say, I see it, I recognize it. Like, I ask for forgiveness for the places where I was complicit in my history, even if not personally, although I would argue all of us personally are complicit too. So grace is a place that we sit where we are willing to see each other and hear each other. And there's such a sweetness in that, to lay down your arms and be willing to just sit in the tension of hearing somebody else's story, because that ultimately is what changes us.